Is the flu shot a good idea? By the end of this video, I'm not going to tell you if it's a good idea or not. I'm going to give you information and give you what's called informed consent in the medical world so that you know if the flu shot's right for you and your family, so that you have the information to make the determination as to whether or not it's a good idea for you. Hello friends, I'm Audrey Christie. I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. I help women find relief and remission from autoimmune disease and chronic illnesses. And one of the biggest questions I'm asked this time of year is, should I get a flu shot? Should you? We'll talk about it, okay? Let's find out together. No, I already know if you should or shouldn't, but you have to make the decision for you. If you like this kind of information on holistic health and wellness, body, mind, and spirit, on how to become the full expression of your own wellness, then be sure to subscribe and click the little bell so you get a notification each week when I deliver valuable content to you just like this. All right, friends, let's get started. All right, so it is October and it's already starting to be heavily propagated by the media, right? I see the signs in the grocery store. I see them everywhere I go. The CDC actually puts out a PowerPoint training before flu season ever starts to coach and engage the masses, the public health workers, the news outlets, so that they know what types of terms to use when discussing the flu season. They use terms like deadliest, and they encourage them to use things like, say, this is going to be worse than last year, or deadliest flu season ever, severe consequences, all of these terms and words and catchphrases to get you excited about the flu, because they're selling a product just like they're selling everything else. So how do you cut through the hype? Where do you find this information? And you can actually go to the CDC's website and view these PowerPoint presentations. So they're not even trying to keep it a secret. So let's talk a little bit about the science behind the flu shot, because I like to know the science before I can make a decision. And I think you should know the science too. So here's the thing. Why can they call the flu shot effective? Can they tell it's effective? What are they talking about when they say the flu shot is effective? Here's the thing. There is something called an adjuvant in the flu shot, and an adjuvant creates an immune response, right? And so that immune response is what flu shots and all vaccines really are measured by. Can they create an immune response? Well, anything that you inject into the body that is a foreign substance, it could be Windex, although I am not a proponent of that, but it could be Windex. You will create an immune response if it has an adjuvant with it, right? Now, adjuvants have side effects. They have side effects like weakening the immune system, and that's just one of the smaller side effects. So you have to think about and make your own decision about, if I need a strong immune system to fight the flu and I'm getting a flu shot and it's weakening my immune system, then does that make sense? Do those two puzzle pieces fit together? Now, before you get out your foil hats, I am not a conspiracy theorist that feels flu shots or vaccines in general are some large plot by big government and pharma to sterilize the world. It's so much simpler than that. It's just a plot to make money, y'all. In my opinion, maybe your opinion is different. The flu shot is a 1.6 billion with a B dollar business, and dollars do funny things to people and businesses, right? So I feel like, personally, that's the driver behind it. But again, do your research, do your own due diligence, and find out if you agree or not. It's relatively unregulated, the whole vaccine industry, particularly the flu shot, and that's thanks to some Reagan-era voting. And that Reagan-era voting gave vaccine manufacturers the benefit of not being legally liable for damages from vaccines. So why not make sure every person has it? There's very little chance that they could lose anything from it. So the studies that the flu shot manufacturers put out themselves say that medical research indicates that the efficacy of the influenza vaccination is grossly exaggerated. The British Medical Journal has questioned the validity of studies claiming efficacy and stated that the evidence, this is a quote, the evidence from systematic reviews shows that inactivated vaccines have little or no effects. That's studies that you can look up. You can get on the national medical and international medical studies libraries and just look those up and read them yourselves. And you have to read past the headline. So here's a sidebar tip. When you are looking at data and scientific studies, always read the whole thing, because the summary that is at the top, the conclusion that is at the bottom, is not always reflective of what the study actually says. And the headline, just like the headline on Facebook, is often clickbait. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're doing this research yourself. So in recent years, the last 5 or 6 years, the flu shot's been recommended for a broader and broader age group or subset of people. It's now recommended for everyone, whether you're pregnant or not, and everyone that is 6 months of age on into affinity, right? And sometimes it's even more recommended for populations that are, you'll hear the disclaimer, like if you're really, really young or elderly or pregnant, then you really have to get the flu shot. And it's kind of funny, because if you look at the science, if you look at the data, studies have proven over and over and over again that the influenza vaccinations have not changed the number of doctor visits or hospitalizations in children. And other studies show that vaccinations have not impacted the mortality of the elderly population, period. Interesting, right? Now, every year the population grows, obviously, and every year the rate of flu vaccinations also grows. So if you look at that data very, very simply, if the flu vaccine works, then why are so many people dying of the flu each year? Why does the trend of flu deaths continue to increase much, much sharper than the increase of vaccines? Now, if we look at just the numbers, and you can go look at the numbers too, I encourage you to do so at CDC Flu, FLUVIEW, Flu View, right? That's where you're going to find this information. If you look at the studies, let's just look at adults between 1976 and 2007. The average number of deaths per year was 23,607. And that's from the CDC's Flu View website. In 2014, there were 55,000 deaths. In 2016, there were 57,000 deaths. And this is the average number of deaths from flu and pneumonia. They have to group them together because there's not enough to be scary if they don't. Counter arguments for that is that it's because of people who have now become anti-vaxxers, people who are no longer vaccinating or giving the flu shot. But if you look at the numbers, that's not actually true, because the number of flu vaccines given in 2016 over 27 is 50 million more shots given in 2016. So then the other argument to that is that, okay, well, that's cool. Then maybe that's not it. It was definitely then, there must have been a steep growth, a steep incline in the population. No. In 2007, 40% of people in the US got flu shots. In 2016, over 60% of people in the US got flu shots. So that logic doesn't work either. Now, back to that lumping two diseases together thing. If you look at these numbers, the CDC lumps together two different diseases to make it scary: flu and pneumonia. They do that now, right? If you take 2001, for example, this is a year that adds to the 23,000 average that I was talking about just a second ago. The CDC says that 62,000 people died of influenza and pneumonia in that year, in the year 2001, okay? If you dig just a little bit deeper, click a few more times, you can see that only 257 people died of the flu. 257 of the 62,000 people that first number represents. Only 18 of those cases were actually linked, proven to be the influenza virus. Interesting, right? Now, of course, they use that 61,000 number to push the flu shot because the pneumonia is a complication of the flu, right? Now, maybe it can be. Yes, pneumonia can be a complication of the flu, but it's also a complication for all sorts of other medical conditions, surgeries, all sorts of things, even antibiotics that are entirely unrelated to the flu, right? Okay, let's keep going on this. I'm gonna give you more information here. Let's talk about pediatrics, this new recommendation or newer recommendation for pediatric patients 6 months to 5 years. In 2001, there were 13 deaths of that age group from the flu and pneumonia. 2003 was the first year the CDC started recommending flu shots for kids 5 years and under. That year, there were 90 deaths, 90 deaths from the flu and pneumonia. So 2001, there was no recommendation for that flu shot for children under 5, 13 deaths. 2003, there were 90. Something to consider if you're thinking of a flu shot for your child, right? Last one, it's also recommended for pregnant women, right? Pregnant women, it's recommended to get the flu shot. That's the one thing I'm gonna tell you. Don't get the flu shot if you're pregnant. Don't let them talk you into it. It is absolutely the wrong move. And that's what I'm gonna stand on my soapbox for, regardless of the research that you do, if you don't listen to anything else and you take all this information and you decide that the flu shot is right for you and your family, absolutely your prerogative. You know the information, you're making an informed decision, which is more than what most people do. If you're pregnant, please do not get the flu shot. There is a 670% increased risk for spontaneous abortion, 150% increased risk in spontaneous abortion for women who get the flu shot in the first trimester. Okay, so keep that in mind. So, Audrey, if you don't get the flu shot, what the heck are you supposed to do to prevent the flu? Just like anything else, the best offense, or the best defense, I almost messed that up, is a good offense. Okay, prevention is key. Plenty of omega-3s, plenty of vitamin D, plenty of elderberry, plenty of adaptogen mushrooms, eating a healthy, well-balanced, nutritious diet that is lacking in anti-inflammatory, or that is lacking in inflammatory foods and full of anti-inflammatory plant foods. Fill that plate up with plants. I'm not asking you to never eat meat, dairy, and eggs. I'm asking you to fill your plate up with plants and then scoot them over and then put your meat, dairy, or eggs on the plate. But you can use all sorts of natural and holistic remedies to boost your immune system and keep your guard healthy for flu season. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, that's okay too. Give me a thumbs down and let me know what you thought in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you know somebody who is pregnant, who has kids under 5, who's considering the flu shot, and this information might be useful for them, then please share it. I would be oh so grateful. And finally, if you do go to your doctor offers you the flu shot. Y'all should just avoid the grocery store flu shots like the plague. But if you do go to the store, or you do go to the doctor, say no at the store, absolutely. But if you do go to the doctor offers you the flu shot, ask your doctor to explain the information in the package insert. Ask your doctor for the risks. If your doctor says there are no risks, find a new doctor, because that's just categorically false, okay? Your doctor should be well-versed in this information before giving you the flu shot. They should be able to give you that informed consent. Thank you so much for watching. Be well.